Good morning. It's Tuesday, it's 11 a.m., and it's time for the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM, presenting live weekly performances in the WDNA Jazz Gallery, featuring students, faculty, and alumni from Florida International University School of Music. I am your host, Colin Miller, and along with our music producer, Karen Fuller-Velos, we'd like to welcome you to the FIU Music Hour. Please make sure to join us this week as we open the FIU Music Festival, opening October 26th until November 10th at FIU's Wertheim Performing Arts Center this Friday with Cuban jazz legend pianist Alfredo Rodriguez and the FIU Jazz Band, and this morning we are joined by members of the FIU Jazz Program. The Jazz Prophets, directed by Jamie Owsley, with Courtney Normandin on trumpet, Jose Ruiz on trombone, Nathan Vargas on guitar, Camilo Ortega on piano, Juan Moreno on electric bass, and Dominic Mitchell on drums. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jazz Prophets. Take it away with Wayne Shorter's Backstage Sally. All right, and that was Backstage Sally. What a great number to get the show started. All right, so while they prepare for their next number, please do not forget to visit us at musicfestival.fiu.edu for information to all FIU Music Festival concerts, including opening night with the Alfredo Rodriguez Trio on October 26th, a family Halloween extravaganza on Saturday, October 27th, and a smashing, backed by popular demand, afternoon concert as we join forces with the Dranoff Foundation and hear two piano and voices of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. But this morning, let's continue to hear more from the FIU Jazz Prophets with Sonny Stitt's Eternal Triangle. Take it away. All right, and that was another fantastically fast-paced number. So moving right along here, we have a number by Claire Fisher. Please enjoy Pensativa. To the FIU Music Hour here on WDNA 88.9 FM. And that was Pensativa. That one sure keeps your toe tapping, doesn't it? All right, so you're listening to the FIU Music Hour here on WDNA 88.9 FM. And when we come back, we're going to be interviewing the director of the FIU Jazz Prophets, Mr. Jamie Owsley. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away. This is the FIU Music Hour on WDNA on 88.9 FM. Welcome back. And here we have the FIU Jazz Prophets on the show today under the direction of Jamie Owsley. Jamie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you and the group on today.
Well, thanks very much for having us. The students have been really excited to get to play here.
Well, we're excited to have them. So my first question is, as some people who listen to the FIU Music Hour know, you are the original host of the show. And you actually introduced me to this program, so I'm going to say here, thank you so much. So tell me a little bit about your experience about being on the Music Hour and hosting.
Well, you know, this is something we've wanted to create partnerships with WDNA for a long time because there's such a great support for jazz in our community, and we have collaborated on projects before. And you know, they've the University of Miami had a program for many years, even back when I was a student, even before I was a student, 20 or 30 years ago, before it was live broadcast, they would just play recordings of students. So I thought, hey, why don't we have one for FIU? And so we started the discussions, and it's just been a great blessing, I think, for our community and our students, and for people to know about the great music and programs and students we have at FIU, and our alumni as well. So it's just been a really great opportunity to showcase our talent and let people know, we're down the street. And come hear our shows, We're putting out some great musicians.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So those were some great charts that we had just heard earlier. Now, here we have the FIU Jazz Prophets here. Can you talk to me a little bit about this group from the jazz program?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the semester, we had this nice instrumentation. This is a jazz combo, one of our jazz combos, and we had a couple brass as well as piano and guitar. And I thought, wow, this is a good chance maybe to do some of the Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers repertoire and Horace Silver and like that. And they were all like, oh yeah, let's do that. But we didn't want to just be the Jazz Messengers. That's why we came up with Jazz Prophets.
Oh,
so we're prophesizing jazz to come. So hopefully nobody else took that name, and we can just keep it,
It's got a good ring to it.
It does, I think. So, yeah, we're actually this is the big reveal. We didn't let anybody know our name until today, the Jazz Prophets. So.
Sounds good. Definitely a good place for it.
Yeah, and just the other thing that's really nice about this band in particular, this style, you'll notice a lot of times during the solos, the other horn players are involved playing these background figures. That's something I really like. So in other words, maybe the guitarist playing a solo, and all of a sudden behind him, the trumpet and trombone come in with a line together, like accompanying him. And that's the kind of thing that's really neat and possible with a larger group. And it's really important for students to learn to actually be able. We have them arranged mostly, but in the professional world, people improvise those kind of things. So I always like to get students used to that. How can they be creative, creating arrangements as we're playing, especially when you have, the more people in the ensemble, the more creative you can be and more layers you could add. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Now that you pointed out, I didn't notice it before, but...
Well, listen for it on the next tunes.
Yeah. Upon listening, upon me pointing it out, it brings a different dynamic to what's being played, so...
Yeah.
What I wanted to also ask you was, I actually asked Jim Hacker this when he was on with the FIU Jazz Band last week. As you know, the Alfredo Rodriguez Trio is opening up the FIU Music Festival. How does it feel for the students to perform and rub shoulders with such great artists that the festival provides?
Well, it's really great to have, great artists and also professionals come in so they can kind of get a taste of what it's like, to have one rehearsal and do a show, perhaps, as a guest artist, rather than like rehearse for a whole semester and do a show. There's just, in the professional world, there's a little bit different standard of, coming prepared. And it's just required because there's not the economics to support like tons and tons of rehearsals. So you got to kind of know what you're doing before you get to the rehearsal, show up with everything you need, and then do what there is to do, and then okay, let's play the show. And also it's just a really great resource, always to have our students around, great musicians. There are a lot of chances down here, but it's not like New York City, like where you can go every night and just hear like all your heroes.
Sure.
So when we do have guest artists, it is a special occasion, and we really, it really means a lot to the students. So we'd like to have more of them.
Well, it's definitely going to be a fun festival, to say the least. So talking about musicians and all that, it actually brings me to my next question. You're the director of this combo, but you're also a great musician in your own right. Would you say you get a different joy out of being a player of music and an instructor of music? And is there, different experiences regarding the two?
Well, they're definitely different, and they're definitely different skill sets. And I would say, being a performer and being an educator, both of them inform the other side. So, for example, teaching my improv class, which many of these students were in, I always, as I'm teaching the class, I actually get better as an improviser myself. Each time I teach that class, I'm like, wow, this is great. I should teach this every semester. Unfortunately, it's not every semester. But so there's that. And then, also it's like, it's really great to see like my students, former students out in the world, now they're teaching at other schools, or they're playing with other bands, or, creating their own music. So that's really gratifying. And that's what we're here, preparing the next generation.
Definitely.
And this show is part of that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So you're helping, too.
Oh, I do my best here. But let's see here. The next piece we're going to hear is A La Mode by Curtis Fuller. Can you tell us a little something about it?
Well, not really, but there are actually, in this particular piece, we're talking about the backgrounds. Each soloist will have some backgrounds, at least three. There's three sets of different backgrounds. It's part of the arrangement, so listen for it this time.
I definitely will.
Okay, good.
All right, so take it away, A La Mode by Curtis Fuller. And that was A La Mode by Curtis Fuller. And you're right, Jamie, here in the backgrounds, they really bring a lot to the piece. So moving right along here, we actually have Peace by Horace Silver. Enjoy. You've been listening to the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 and the FIU Jazz Prophets under Jamie Owsley. To hear more about our concerts and the FIU Music Festival, visit us at www.musicfestival.fiu.edu or call 305-348-0496 for more information on all of our concerts. Do not forget to like us on Facebook, FIU Music. Next week on the FIU Music Hour, we will be joined by our own artist in residence, the Amarnet String Quartet, internationally acclaimed quartet. I am your host, Colin Miller, and along with our producer, Karen Fuller-Velos, we'd like to thank our production crew, Andrea Leon, Mavi Mastrovito, Dawn May, Maria Fernandez-Sobera, Mariasis Miranda, Yasmin Kubi, Michelle Paguada, and Sofia De Silva, and Adolfo Saguiero. Next week, come and listen to us live at the WDNA Jazz Gallery for some more great music on the FIU Music Hour. And now, the FIU Jazz Prophets, the airwaves are all yours.